No, we're not drunk this week, that you can tell. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. It is 9:04 p.m. Pacific. That makes it 12:04 a.m. Eastern. And O The Anthem is live from coast to coast, broadcasting from the hashtag OTA LA studios, high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the podcast.
Yes, thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. That's a good one to do.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for following us on YouTube. All the things.
Yep.
All the things that can be done. We appreciate every single one of them.
And, of course, you can find O The Anthem on all your social networks, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those at O The Anthem. You can join us at plus O The Anthem on Google Plus if you hate yourself. And if you want to be part of the show.
If you're a Google employee.
If you're a Google employee, yeah. If you want to be a part of the show, we are broadcasting live on Facebook Live on Monday night. So if you want, you can catch us at any point between Saturday and Monday whenever we choose to broadcast. I guess what people could really do is to like the Facebook page, turn on notifications, and then you would know when we were broadcasting.
Right, because we don't just post willy-nilly.
No.
We post with the good stuff.
Of course.
Only the things you would want to be aware of.
Right. So if you do that, then you'll know that we are broadcasting live, and you can join us in the chat. You can send us a message right here. I'm going to see it. We'll read them out. Or, of course, anytime during the week, if you listen on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, you can call and leave a message at the listener line. That's 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
That's 443-219-7595. And Isaiah joins us in the chat. Isaiah, welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to dive right in, right up at the top. I think we wanted to cover a little bit. Who knew, but there is still sports to talk about.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to talk a little sports ball. Sports ball. All right. So there's good news and there's bad news from Corey's favorite sports teams. Let's start with the bad news.
All right. Well, I guess we can start saying that the Orioles are statistically eliminated from it.
I mean, not
really, but I mean,
we've been fans a long time.
You know what? Honestly, the ththing is, like, we have a great weekend series like we did against the Rays, where we take 2 of 3, including the Sunday win with a 17-1 victory.
Oh, it was nice.
And you say, like, I could see it on Orioles Twitter. Like, people are going like, maybe if this is the start of the turnaround and we play like this for the rest of the year, everything's going to be fantastic. But no. This is not. Let's not. Much like I said, don't contribute too much to cold streaks. Let's not contribute too much to hot streaks.
Yes.
And 2 of 3 is not a hot streak, by the way. No. But yes, I'm happy to see the Orioles win every single time. I still hope that somehow this is for real and they continue to do this all year. But winning 2 out of every 3 at this point maybe gets us in the playoffs.
Yeah. Because a lot of the season's already passed for us to be doing that.
I mean, it's we're 8-28 or something like that at the moment.
How many games out of the lead of the AL East does that put us?
Like 15, because we're like, I think Boston and New York are both at like 28-8.
Ooh.
So,
but I mean, they could go on cold streaks as well.
Oh, and if we beat them, like all the time, like we did New York earlier this year, like if we win 3 out of 4 every single time we play New York, we're in the running on it.
Catch right back up.
Yeah, you just can't lose to, like the Rays,
right?
Or you can't lose to the Tigers, can't lose to the White Sox. You gotta beat the Royals. You gotta beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
The Angels. It would be nice for them to win at least one.
I mean,
Corey went to.
The Angels are in the running for a good team, so it's not surprising that they lose. I mean, like, really, I almost write off West Coast teams.
You win 54, you lose 54, but they didn't win any of the 3 here.
I know.
Yeah, so that's
or any of them in Oakland, I think, either. It was really quite depressing.
Kind of a bad team.
Yeah. But I'm not going to stop rooting for him. And I just hope that the Manny Machado haul is enough to quickly turn us around. Quicker than the 14 years of misery we dealt with before.
You mean the haul of players we're going to get from the trade?
I hope. Oh, yes, I hope at least we get like 2 decent. Like if it's like Bedard, where we get an Adam Jones and an Eric Bedard, I'm feeling pretty good about our situation.
Yeah. Who do we trade? Who do we put out in that?
What do you mean?
What do we trade to get Adam Jones?
Eric Bedard.
That was to Seattle. But wasn't it like a 3-way trade? Didn't we go somewhere else too?
No, we had 2 separate 5-for-1 trades.
That's what that was. Yes. Okay.
It was Bedard for Jones, Tillman, Sherrill, Michael Costanzo.
Cheryl, though.
Yeah,
Cheryl,
I mean, those are the three major pieces, and then the Miguel Tejada trade to Houston, which brought us Luke Scott,
right,
and other people.
But we lost Tejada. I mean,
yeah, I know,
a key piece of that team.
He had a really successful rest of his career, so I'm glad. You know what's upsetting me though is I remember having conversations with Kent about Nick Markakis when he left us.
Yeah,
and I was just
for $4 million. Yeah,
and I was saying, you know what, this neck injury that he has, it's ruined a lot of careers.
Yes.
Let's not act like it was a big mistake not to re-sign him, because he might not ever play the same way ever again. Right. And I mean, to be fair, some of his numbers have been less than desirable for the first 3 years. I mean, he's hit like 8 home runs over the first 3 years of that deal. But now that he's hitting 320 and 9 home runs or something like that.
Seems to be over the neck injury. Yeah, seems to have gotten past it.
Seems to have gotten better. I mean, he was continuing to hit for average the whole time.
Yeah.
And really, if there's anything the Orioles needed, it was somebody who could hit for average right now. So, I don't know. You win some, you lose some. It's baseball. But you know who doesn't lose some?
Who's that?
The Capitals.
Oh.
Who will never fucking lose again.
And now they're out of the Stanley Cup. Good job. You got your hopes up too high, Icarus.
Late breaking tweet from Gary Bettman. Washington Capitals suspended for the rest of the playoffs. No. Why do you take away the things I love?
Ovechkin, on the way to his car outside of a practice, trips and falls, breaks ankle, out for the remainder of playoffs. You did that to them. You did that.
His knee broken by some punk's pathetic attempt at taking him out.
Some Golden Knights fan was just in the hallway.
The one Tampa Bay Lightning fan, Gary, I think his name is, just hits Ovechkin on his way to the car. He's just like, my knee, only in Russian. I don't know what my knee is.
He's laying in the parking lot going, oh wait, what's Russian for why? Why? Why?
Let's find out. What is Russian for why?
But yes, so while Mike Corey is looking that up, but yeah, so the Caps are looking, despite all his down feelings, and I feel like I don't even want to put up. I'm going to, but I don't even.
You know what? I actually think, going back to what we've talked about before, where the more money and time and effort I spend on the Capitals, the more they disappoint me.
Yes.
I think this is kind of like a reverse penance for that. Like, the more effort I put into the T-shirt that says that, like, they're never going to win a cup,
yes,
the more they're likely to do it. So go ahead. Buy my stupid fucking T-shirt for as long as it's still relevant. That's my thing. Yeah.
But as we've been talking about for the last few weeks, win a cup or kill me already.
Here we go. You ready?
You got it. Yes.
All right. Hold on a second.
Why?
Oh, fuck you.
Thanks, Google.
Zачем?
Zачем.
By the way, I like that we're making a joke that, like, maybe some people our age would get, but probably no one younger than us will even understand.
I don't know. I, Tonya was a big movie last year.
Oh, so. True. I guess I, Tonya would bring that back. But nonetheless, if you've been watching for a couple of weeks, Corey was very down on the Capitals, as he should be, based on their previous performance. Thus, the creation of this T-shirt, Win a Cup or Kill Me Already, which is available at the O The Anthem store.
Yeah.
So you can
it
pick
seems
that up.
to be bringing them good luck. So I recommend everyone who enjoys what the Capitals are doing to buy one, because the more irrelevant it becomes, the better off the Caps are going to do.
Seems to be that way.
Listen. What am I to say of things with special powers? Go buy a T-shirt.
Not superstitious at all, these sports fans. So they took the first 2 from the Lightning. Now we're on a break, right? And they're going to Tampa Bay?
No, they were in Tampa.
Oh, 2.
And now we're going back to D.C.
Yeah.
Maybe not back to Tampa. That would be nice.
Yeah. Well,
but
luckily,
I'm not. Listen, I'm not going to be able to watch these games, so I'm a little bit like.
Oh, that's right. This week,
yeah,
we have things to do. So.
I have a big week.
Yeah.
But let's see. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, luckily it's playoffs, so people will actually go see the Capitals. All those fair weather Capitals fans are officially in force.
It's really not a fair weather team. They're very well attended.
I don't think you understand the people that I'm seeing on Twitter who are just like,
well, I know that there's a little bit of Caps fever that has started to infiltrate the regular population, because when I called my mother on Mother's Day, one of the first things she said to me was, the Caps are doing really well. It was just like
thanks,
it
Mom.
seems to have spread to my mother, so therefore
it's a little bit.
Therefore, it's a little bit off its beaten path.
Yes, yeah. But we're gonna. I mean, Corey will stay posted. When is the Game 5?
Game 5.
Yeah. It'll be this week, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's basically every other day. So tomorrow will be Game 3, and then probably Thursday will be Game 4, and then Saturday would be Game 5.
So by the time we broadcast, fingers crossed, the Capitals will be in.
I would say this though. I
just want to jinx them.
I heard Bill Simmons talk about it on his podcast, and I felt this was very appropriate.
Yes.
For so many years, I feel like the NHL has been against our personal happiness, and we'll be able to find out how much they're willing to kill themselves, because really the options here are the Caps versus the Vegas Golden Knights.
The
in the
brand
Stanley
new
Cup.
expansion
The
team.
expansion team makes it all the way to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Against one of not like an original 6 team, but certainly one of the more well-respected teams in the league, one that has been fantastic for many years but never been able to get over the cusp.
Yeah.
Or it could be Tampa and Winnipeg.
Now, Winnipeg.
Or any combination. I mean, it could be Caps and Winnipeg too, or Tampa and Vegas, obviously. But Winnipeg and Tampa are not what we call hotbeds of the national attention.
One of those is in Canada, though, so at least they like hockey.
Yes, but do you know anything about Winnipeg?
No.
I mean, like, you've heard of Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, I know it's a city in Canada.
Have you heard of Saskatoon?
Also a city in Canada.
Yeah, but they're both actually very similar, because they both have, like, I don't know, 20,000 people who live there. Like, it's not like a big... It's like Green Bay.
They get a hockey team because they've always had a hockey team.
I mean, people... they didn't always have a... It was moved away and brought to Phoenix.
Oh.
And then this was an expansion team that was brought back.
Okay.
Or no, it was the Thrashers who moved to Winnipeg, I think. I don't know. It's so hard to figure it out. NHL always just wants to cause us pain and misery. I'm just wondering if they're willing to, like, stab themselves in the chest real quick and just be like, we'll deal with Tampa and Winnipeg just to fuck everybody. Like,
it's like those the World Series you see where one of the options is Dodgers Yankees, and you're like, all right, so clearly it's gonna end up as Dodgers Yankees. We know this from the beginning. The other two teams are Baltimore, which is a passionate town, but who could really care less? And what's in a small town in the National League?
Cincinnati.
Yeah. All East Coast. Both cities are passionate about their team, but they don't really have much pull outside their city.
Right.
And you're just like, all of a sudden,
it's just like if the options for the World Series were like Orioles Nationals or Rays Reds.
Yes.
Yeah. Royals Reds.
I guess even Orioles Nationals would have that
or Oakland
Beltway series.
Yeah.
feel.
I mean, like they want the story, but I mean, like, let's see how badly the NHL wants the story. How badly do they want 20 people to watch the Stanley Cup? I guess is the point.
Yes.
Because I mean, like, listen, if you want to start calling penalties on the other team just because, like, it seemed like it was happening in the early stages of the Pittsburgh series, then we can do that the other way. Listen, I'll take a three game Tom Wilson suspension if it means that, like, all the Tampa Lightning are suspended at the same time.
Yeah. But
they all pissed green. They all go away.
We'll keep you posted. Obviously, by the next episode, we hope that will be rectified and the decision will be made about the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yes.
And then Corey will be able to sweat profusely while watching the Capitals.
That'll do it. If they, I'm sure maybe they've been holding off their bonehead move until the Stanley Cup Finals.
Sure, why not?
I mean, maybe they
they
wanted to give me a taste. Just get past the third round and then sail through the third round. Make me feel real confident. And then stab me to death in the Stanley Cup Finals. Finally, they do it.
It could absolutely be that. So make sure you support your team. Get your T-shirt. Win a cup or kill me already. Washington Hockey available at the OTA store at otheanthem.com. And, of course, we'll keep you updated. All right, so we have a couple of other topics to get to this week. The number one thing I want to make sure we talk about is the most important story of the week.
Net neutrality.
Yes. I thought you were going to go with something funny, and I was about to chastise you. But
No,
it is net neutrality. So if you've been listening to the podcast for, I don't know, at all, we've been talking about for, I don't know, the last 3 years or so, the issue of net neutrality.
We've been talking about things that have led us to this point, too.
Also
we've
true.
talked about SOPA. We've talked about CISPA. We've talked about, what else was there? Shit.
Then there was the bringing back of
bringing of Internet Freedom Act of 2014 or I don't know. Whatever. There's a lot of things.
I think one of our first episodes we talked about how important net neutrality was when they were rule making at the FCC. It wasn't even about ending net neutrality. It was just rule making at the FCC. It was
what is net neutrality?
Yes.
And what can these restrictions be?
So, as you may know, if you listen to the podcast at all, net neutrality was officially ended by the FCC, but it was one of those things like when you break up with somebody but you live together. So we're not together anymore, but we still got to figure some shit out.
Yeah, you can't afford to leave right now.
Yes.
And I understand that. I'm not an unreasonable person, but we got to sort of live our own lives, but you still owe me rent.
Yes. And we'll figure this out as time progresses. And
I mean, our lease agreement only has 3 or 4 months left on it. Why don't we just
burn that out?
Just hang out. We can give us some time to adjust and figure out what's going on.
Don't bring any strangers to the apartment.
Yeah, you be respectful. I'll be respectful.
Yes, absolutely.
But no, there's no sign that the other party has been respectful in this manner, and I'm a one-issue voter this election.
Yeah.
We were having a conversation about with Marie about electing as many Democrats as possible to make sure that Trump gets impeached, and I'm like, that doesn't matter. It's not. That's a fool's errand to expect voting Democrats to actually mean something gets done, because clearly nothing has ever proved that to be the case. But
this may be an issue where it's proven not to be the case.
I will literally drive down to Orange County and scream at some motherfucker who doesn't vote to hold this up. I am a one-issue voter this election. If you do not vote for net neutrality, you will not get a vote from me. That is 100% the case.
I will come to your office and I will find you.
I will go find you, Daryl Issa. I will tell you mean words to your face.
By the way, I
will troll you on Twitter so bad.
The voters' booklets in LA are insane.
Yeah.
The stuff that we got in Maryland was all right, but every position has 14 people for it. And God bless you, socialists, anarchists who are running an election, which I don't even understand.
Every single person gets a full page to explain their platform.
It's amazing.
Every issue has the pros and cons essentially. What side is for it, and their well-written paragraph about why they're for it. And
the thing I hate about those things is where they write them to seem like it's the opposite. Vote no on 7.
Yeah.
But by voting no on 7, you're actually allowing something to happen.
Right. Vote no on 7 to protect Earth. And it's just well, what does yes on 7 mean? Oh, it means no toxic sludge in the Pacific. And it's just
that seems exactly the opposite of what I would expect. Yeah, but these booklets have all right, so if you were to vote yes on 7, this is what would happen.
Right.
This is what changes about the law. And you're wow, now nobody's going to read this thing, but at least they're trying to educate voters, and they're giving everybody an opportunity.
You know what I think they should do? I think they should just send them out Amber Alerts every 2 weeks.
Beep, beep,
yeah, because when my phone goes, I'm
beep.
just what the fuck? And I look, and I'm just oh, okay, purple Dodge Charger, got it.
Purple Dodge Charger in the Bay Area. Yeah. All right, thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll keep an eye out.
If he makes it down this way, I'll just 2 o'clock in the morning, just one purple Dodge Charger. I'll be should I call the cops?
Nah. What's our number 1 rule?
Never call the cops.
Do not call the cops ever. Although maybe an Amber Alert.
Yeah. It's weird though, because I would hate to see just a purple Dodge Charger go by and go how many could there possibly be, and then find out that some guy got shot
because he just happened to be in a purple Dodge Charger.
Fuck me. I thought I was opening an Amber Alert.
Nonetheless, so back to the topic, which is this week the Democrats are trying to do something. God bless them. And they are forcing a vote, it looks like, on net neutrality.
Yes.
So at least we'll have a record that says up and down, Are you saying, yes, we should put in rules that create net neutrality by Congress, which is the only thing that can be done after the FCC ended not the program, but the rule? Or are you going to say no? And for one-issue voters like Corey, who are going to be able to say, okay, listen, Kamala Harris. Kamala. All right, rhymes with Pamela.
No.
Kamala Harris. I was going to vote for you.
Remember, the K makes the A.
Kamala, not Pamela.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris. I was going to vote for you, but this is the one issue, and you voted no. Because if they don't,
she is voting yes.
She's going to vote yes. If you don't get that up and down vote, then they have the ability to be like, well, listen, I mean, if they had put a vote on the floor, I would have had the chance to research it a little bit and seen what the impact was. But I stand for open markets, but I also stand for privacy. And I like the idea that you don't have to pay more than one other person. And that's not a position.
Yeah.
Here it is. Net neutrality. Vote for it, yes or no.
Just keep the system we currently had for the time being.
Yeah.
I'm open to discussing the finer points, but once we allow this to end, it's over. It's done. So let's not try and like shove the ketchup back in the bottle after the fact. Let's just all agree we're going to keep it like it was for a little while.
Yeah.
We'll discuss the finer details as we go along, but let's not do this. Like, and seriously, I don't have to yell at my representatives about this because they're all on this side.
To be fair, yes.
That's fine. And like if I was back in Maryland, I wouldn't have to yell at anybody either, except for Andy Harris.
Right.
But I was in Dutch's, and he's gonna vote for it if it ever gets there. Even though Dutch has a long storied history of not doing the right thing. But Cardin's going to vote for it, and the other one I can't remember. Other senator from
Who's
Maryland.
your senator here?
Well, we got Feinstein and Kamala.
Oh, that's right. Kamala is the senator. I was thinking, who am I thinking of? The congresswoman from downtown, or not downtown, but
San Francisco?
No, L.A.
Talking about Pelosi?
Nope.
Maxine Waters?
Maxine Waters.
Yeah.
That's it. That's who I was thinking of. Who? But by the way, all these names we've named, yes,
yeah, they're all going to vote for it.
It doesn't really matter.
But I'm saying like that. If you live in Texas and Beto O'Rourke is having a very close election with Ted Cruz, and he can't afford to lose many voters. If you go to a Ted Cruz rally and you get the opportunity to ask a question or a town hall or something like that.
I mean, he's not going to do that.
Well, I mean, like hypothetically, if you catch him leaving the scene of yet another Zodiac killing, and you have a chance to ask him a question, then perhaps you say, "Hey, Ted, I'm a one-issue voter, and it's net neutrality. Where do you stand?" And he says, "I'm going to vote no." And I'll just be like, "Well, hell with you!" And you throw holy water on him, and he burns. Like,
that was a very complex story.
Yeah, I know.
Just told there. I like that.
It took the Fast and the Furious 9 logic.
By the way, I was going to say, so if anybody's looking, Corey is working on a Fast and the Furious spec script that is going to be amazing. He's going to do it by using a word jumble to just spit out words.
Category, or like, what's the Mad Libs?
Mad Libs style. Just Mad Libs in.
I'm going to have a bowl full of character names, and I'm going to have a bowl full of ridiculous situations, and I'm going to pull one out of each, and I'm going to get like, 5 matches, and then I'm going to make the entire story about that. So like, what were the examples again? I was like,
let me pull up the actual, where were we talking about this? Was it on Twitter?
Yeah,
I think
it was in direct messages.
By the way, this is the thing I hate about life in 2018. I can never keep track of where it was that we were having a conversation, and then I go looking for it later, and I can't
You got to
find
look
it.
through all
Here
the
we go.
various.
Nope, I got it.
Okay.
So Hobbs will drive so fast that he escapes the rules of gravity.
Yeah.
And Toretto will win a street race that causes Jesus to rise from the dead again.
Yeah.
And my response, I'd see that.
That's the problem. Anywho, let's not get away from the serious matter of Fast and the Furious and get back to
yes. So
if you live somewhere where this is an issue, please call your people, because we don't have long. We don't have very long at all. And the best case scenario for this is everyone's fucking talking about it. And I know, there's Russia stuff, there's Avenatti, there's blah, 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 blah,
We're
blah.
going to talk about that too.
There's all that shit. I get it's hard to deal with more than one thing at a time. But if Ted Cruz, just as an example, gets 2 million calls into his office.
Yep.
saying, if you overturn net neutrality, I will not vote for you. Guess who's all of a sudden going to be on the side of net neutrality? Because he cannot afford to lose that sort of thing. And any single time the bat signal has gone up on net neutrality, senators' offices have gotten flooded with calls, and for the most part, it has moved the needle.
Yeah.
Now, this is the last time that, for now, that we have to make this push, and we got to make it stronger than ever. So, if you live somewhere where you can affect the outcome of this, please, by all means, call. All the Eastern Shore people,
Definitely
please, just call Andy Harris's office. Be respectful, but also acknowledge or tell him. It's great when you can say something like, listen, I voted for Andy Harris, and I was prepared to vote for Andy Harris again. But I'm a one-issue voter this election cycle, and if he does not stand for net neutrality, I don't stand for him. That's the kind of message that gets passed along in the Senate or in the congressman's office.
Yeah, it's like,
that's
hey,
the one that works its way up to the top.
And it's better when you don't follow
If you
the
call
script.
up and say, like, Andy Harris, I'm going to kill you and your whole family if you vote for net. That doesn't get passed along.
I mean, it does.
I mean, it
to
does,
the Secret Service,
yeah.
and you're going to get a visit, but it doesn't get passed to Andy.
Right. He doesn't hear about that call.
Yeah. By the way, I just noticed, and I wanted to point out, if you guys have seen me recently, you've seen that I have a lovely pop socket on here, and I forgot to mention, was it this week that you put that on there or not? I've gotten Corey. I got Corey on the pop socket revolution.
I don't know if I'm in. Honestly,
will you show the folks at home? Show the folks at home what's up.
I got this one for free last year at Warner Brothers for Shape, which I will go to again this year. And I was just like, I think I'll put it on and give it a try and see how I like it. Mm-hmm. And jury's out.
Yeah, that's because, by the way,
jury's out. Because the problem is that, like, I like to operate one-handed so much, but then when I need to reach something on, like, the far end of the screen, like, I'm still, like, holding it with, like,
yeah,
I'm on, like, the tippy toes of my fingers.
What was your
there.
process of putting that on the phone?
Just sticking it on?
Yeah. So I took 10 minutes to put it on someone else's phone.
Yeah.
Positioning the hand, checking the position, making sure it was right, moving it slightly, moving it slightly, moving it slightly. Okay, now we're good. Great. Turn it over, and I'm going to stick it right back there. And it's perfect.
Yeah.
Can reach every bit of the phone, every corner, and you're fine.
Yeah.
And once you use it for a while, you'll learn how to trade fingers, so you can move it up a little bit if you need to. Or
I think my least favorite part about it is having to make calls.
Okay, because you just pop it in.
And the other thing is when I need to operate my phone quickly and can't use the socket, like don't have enough time to pop out the socket before I use it, it bothers my ability to hold it naturally.
First of all, once you use it for a while, it'll become second nature just to pop it open, hit that boom, and you're done. You're there.
I'm operating on a quicker timetable than you.
I have a scarred finger. I have been laid low, and I still love the pop socket. So anyway, back. Call your senators, call your congressmen about net neutrality. Yeah. It's a very important issue, and we need to address it now. I think they said that June the 3rd is when net neutrality is up officially. So.
Better yet, call your governors and states' attorneys as well.
Yes,
because there's a lot of California, for one,
suing
is saying that they're going to pass legislation that says that any company that does not abide by the old net neutrality laws will be exempt from being able to sell their services to the state of California in any way or shape. Mm-hmm. And that is a big ding for pieces like AT&T, Comcast, blah, blah, blah. So if we could circumvent the stupid national law by 50 or 30.
Not even 30.
Yeah.
We just, again, we talked about this
if 20 of the biggest, most industrious states in the country all of a sudden say they're going to only respect the old net neutrality law and are going to punish people who don't follow it, then a change will be made. But I'm saying that is the significantly more difficult version of this.
Yeah.
The easiest version is call your people.
Keep it in place.
Yeah. And calls work better than anything else. So if you're thinking about just tweeting Andy Harris, it doesn't work as well as calling his office. When you call his office, somebody has to go to Andy Harris at some point and say, we got 197 calls today or this morning about net neutrality.
Yeah.
He's just like, holy shit, 197 calls this morning?
Yeah.
Nobody's going and reading his mentions and figuring out.
Well, somebody is, but they're only passing it on when it's like utterly important.
Yeah. Calls.
Kim Kardashian mentioned you today, Andy. Wait, what?
Calls and emails are the ones that get moved up to the top of the pile. So make that your standard bearer.
Absolutely. And I want to just go back real quick. Did we mention that California has become the 5th largest economy in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now New York, Texas, California are all in the top 15 economies in the world.
Yeah.
Not in the United States, in the world. So
Right.
yeah, try to do business with California. And actually, I mean, New York is the same way.
Yeah.
Just those 2 states by themselves could change the law.
They're both trying to pass this law right now. So
let your local people know as well. And by the way, local elections are just as important as these national elections. Like, don't skip after you flip through the first 3 pages of your voter handbook, don't skip everything else. Read through it. Find out what's happening on your state and your local elections.
I mean, you don't have to read all of the War and Peace that is the California election guide, but at least figure out who you're voting for. And I've actually been thinking about this just as a real quick aside. I think we should stop on any kind of on news or radio or podcast or anything like that designating a party to anybody.
Okay.
So, if I'm watching CNN and Jake Tapper is interviewing a senator, I would like to see the name of the senator and the state, but not the party.
Okay.
And then you watch and you start figuring out, do I agree with this guy? Do I not agree with this guy? And then later, when you're just oh, I'm curious, who is Ted Cruz? Then you find out, oh, he's a Republican. I agree with the Republican on something, or I disagree with the Republican. That doesn't make any sense. And then you can move on from there. I mean, obviously, some examples like Ted Cruz are not going to work because Ted Cruz is a Republican. But
or if you're watching Fox News, they're all going to be Republicans.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think it's an interesting guidepost to come back to at some point.
I think, and I also would like there to be no news in the 1 week lead up to the election. That like
France.
Do it like France, where they say, all right, so you can, well, not news. So you can't put any ads on.
Yeah.
Just let people decide based on the issues.
I mean, if Macron kills somebody 2 days before the election, I want to know, but
I mean, they have the embargo on advertisements, and what's the other thing that it's either the UK or France does? I can't remember, but it's supposed to make elections better.
Yeah.
Damn it, can't remember. I was thinking about it earlier today. I'm like, we should really do that, but whatever it is, we'll figure it out. Not important. Anyway, moving on to other topics.
Oh, real quick, while we're in technology, by the way.
Sure. Yes.
I would like to just bring up a quick thing. Google I/O is this week, and if you did not see the latest out of Google, you were missing out. And
absolutely.
Listen, I know this sounds very much like the tribalism that comes with politics, and I was just talking about how we should eliminate, whether or not somebody is a Republican or Democrat from their conversations about politics on TV and such. Mm-hmm. But if you were using an iPhone and going "Wow, this is a technological masterpiece," I come back at you with this. This one little thing.
Hey,
very soon, I'm going to be able to just talk to the Google Assistant and say, hey, I want a haircut tomorrow at some point between 10 and noon. And that's the last I have to do anything about it. I get a notification that my haircut is booked. I go to the haircuttery or wherever I get the haircut.
Supercuts.
And my appointment is in and I'm out. And I didn't have to call. I didn't have to set up anything. It just happened. And you know how it happens? They've come up with an AI that is so freaking intense that it will call the store on your behalf and have a conversation that sorts out all the details of when to make that haircut appointment and then just books it for you. And they say, it's Duplex. Google Duplex is what they're calling this. And it is fucking incredible. I know that it's probably going to take a long time for it to work perfectly. And I know that there's probably some people who are a little concerned about robots making calls on your behalf and stuff like that. But I will say this. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. One way or the other, it's going to happen. And the reason why I don't make these appointments a lot of time is because I keep saying to myself oh God, it's going to take forever. I don't want to do that. And I just push it back until I think I have time. And then I never have time. And then my hair grows like a crazy person.
Yeah.
And it would be so much easier if I could just say hey, I'm free on Saturday. Let me try and get a haircut at some point on Saturday. I'm going to have Google do it.
Yeah, I think the other thing that was really exciting about that we're talking about in I/O is how you could start grading things, which I always feel bad about grading a place low. Because I went to this restaurant, not for me.
Yeah.
but I don't want to give them a low Yelp review because the food was good and the service was good. It's just not for me.
Right.
And Google's like, okay, so we're going to take this like 2-story thing. Here's what the public rating is, and here's what your rating is. And then, we don't have time to make plans with our significant others and do those kind of things. But you're like, you know what? I don't want to go through the deal of making reservations for dinner for Thursday. But, the girl really wants to go out. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to say, Google, make me dinner reservations between 8 and 9 at one of my favorite places. Google will know, here's how you rate places. Here's places you've been recently. We're not going to go to any of those.
Yeah.
Let's go to a place you haven't been to in a while. And oh, by the way, your girlfriend who also has Google, it can compare those lists of places that you both like, and then we'll call and make a reservation for you.
The other thing too is like the new system that they've worked in there with like businesses and stuff like that. It factors in other people who like the same things you like.
Right.
So it's like, if I rate 5 different restaurants really positively and a whole bunch of other people rate the same 5 restaurants very positively, plus a 6th place I've never been to, they're going to be like, this is a 99% match of something you will love. And hopefully it is. But I'm saying like it's really interesting. AI is going to become more and more a part of our lives. I am not as worried about the
robots taking over
as other people are. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it anyway.
Listen, I welcome our robot overlords. Honestly, just
don't blame me. I voted for Kodos.
I think it's just we were watching Westworld, and no spoilers, but we were watching Westworld, and I was just thinking that we are there. That Google I/O demonstration is everything that the conversation on Westworld is. We just don't have the bodies that match yet. As soon as we get the bodies, you're not going to be able to. And I was having a conversation with somebody about the Turing test. I'm not 100% sure that Google AI wouldn't pass a Turing test.
Yeah.
Because the people on the phone clearly didn't know that they were talking to a robot. And I mean, the Turing test really is you have to know that. And I'm going to have 5 people call you. 2 of them are robots. Tell me which 2 are robots.
And let me ask you this: if you worked at Pizza Empire a long time ago.
Oh man, yes, long time ago.
But if you answered the phone, would you care if it was a person or a robot on the other side of the line?
I'd prefer a robot.
Yeah,
honestly, we're gonna have a much simpler conversation, and I don't have to deal with the guy who the accent was heavy for that second call.
Yeah.
But the point was, parties less than 5, we don't need reservations for.
Right.
Just
you can just come on in.
Table. And how busy are you on this Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Easy enough. That conversation goes a lot better than it would be with you maybe when you've had a long day and you're trying to make reservations for you and Rachel by yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I just want to make a reservation. No, we don't make reservations for less than 5.
And I would like to point out that I would probably, if I called up, there's at least 5% chance I get upset with them for something.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would
something
rather
minute, and then you never go.
Because I'm calling in the middle of like a million things where like Rachel's just like, can you make dinner reservations for tonight? I'm like, fuck. And I call him up and just like, I need a fucking table for 2. And it's just like, I don't appreciate your tone. I don't appreciate the fact that you're still in business.
And here comes the negative Yelp review.
I'm going to go on Yelp and tell them about how terrible your chicken is. This is a vegan spot. Their chicken is shit.
Well, that might be why. That might be why the chicken tasted terrible. But yes, I'm excited about it, and anything to make life easier. Honestly,
just really, there's videos where you can watch like the Google I/O keynote in like condensed form.
Yeah,
I recommend you go check it out because
it's like 15 minutes long.
Yeah,
it's great.
It cuts the whole like 4-hour thing into like a 15-minute clip. You can go through it pretty quick if you already know about something or don't care about something. But Google is just, I don't even understand how people have iPhones anymore. I really don't. Like,
why would you?
I just don't. It's like my car has a crank to start it. And I'm just like, why would you do that to yourself?
Listen, I like the crank. I don't want to hear your non-crank universe, all right?
I enjoy the crank. Like,
I waited in line for 4 hours when the crank came out. When the Crank X came out.
Yeah.
I waited for it, okay?
Hey, my new phone has this brand new thing. You put a key in and it starts.
Yeah, I just sit down in mine and it starts up.
Mine's done that pretty much the entire time I've owned a phone. I've just put the key in and it started. I'm actually up to push button. Like I just push a button and my phone starts.
I don't even need the push button. I'm up to, I get in the car and I just say start and it starts up. It's weird. I don't.
Take me to my appointment. My haircut is waiting.
We're in Teslas, people. This is the Tesla of phones.
Yeah. Don't waste your time with an Edsel. That's all I'm saying.
By the way, deep pull. How many people know what an Edsel is?
Probably as many people as knew about our conversation earlier about what was it? Shit.
I've already forgotten.
Tanya Harding.
Yes.
Deep pulls.
Why?
Gucci.
Anyway, so we have a lot more to cover. We just wasted a lot of time.
Yeah.
20 minutes to cover it. Here we go.
A lot of goofing off. Let's go with Trump and Cohen so he can keep as little time as humanly possible for the other thing.
Okay. Go ahead.
So interesting point of inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Avenatti, lawyer of Stormy Daniels, released that immediately after, not immediately, but shortly thereafter, the payment of $130,000 from a organization that is tied to Trump.
Yes.
There was a $500,000 payment that went to the same organization from a Russian oligarch who is very close to Putin. And that $500,000 is part of $1.2 million that has been transferred into that fund, as well as donations from people like AT&T and other special interest groups. By the way,
you say donations, but they're not donations.
Not
they're
donations. Payments.
Yes.
For consulting services of Michael Cohen for access to the president.
Yes.
Now, I don't remember what the number was with AT&T specifically. But generally speaking, let's say it was $800,000.
Sure.
How much do you think what's the name of it? What was the thing that you did for a while on K Street?
You mean
lobbying?
Like lobbying.
Yeah. How much do you think a large donation from a lobbying firm to an organization usually is?
I mean, like
for like a consulting service.
Well, Michael Flynn got paid $130,000 for 6 months' work.
Yeah.
And I remember that the people were saying, well, he should have announced or he should have put it on the form, but that is in the area of what you would charge.
Yeah.
That like in the time that he was supposed to be working for them, $130,000 is not bad.
Right.
So figure $300,000 for a year worth of work. Now the one I was working for is public interest. So
right.
the pay wasn't nearly that good.
Yeah.
But for people who have money,
but like
$100,000
would be a very substantial amount to spend.
Sure, yeah.
So when AT&T spends $800,000, that sparks some red flags for you, or
also you pay a.
By the way,
firm.
where's that fucking swamp you were talking about? By the way, Trump.
You pay a firm.
Where's your goddamn swamp?
You pay a firm to send out multiple people.
Yeah.
To go talk to congressmen, to go talk to senators.
Yeah.
You don't pay one dude $800,000 unless he's like, no, I can change policy.
Yeah.
So,
I'm J. Edgar Hoover.
Right.
Oh, okay. I guess we owe you $800,000.
Sure. For a new dress. Nice new dress.
Deep pull.
I know,
Who knows
right?
that one?
Nobody. Mine are deeper
it's
than
a
yours.
Podcast
probably.
of deep pulls.
Ooh, what are you gonna do?
So yes, things are starting to get a little bit. I didn't want to. I was about to say stormy. I didn't want to do that. Now I'm trying to come up with another word and I can't. But here's the thing that really is sticking with me.
Mm-hmm.
Mueller has held things very close to the vest. It hasn't been talking, hasn't been doing anything, even though there's a lot of people talking about him.
Yeah.
But he's been running what looks like a very tight ship, and I'm wondering how long he's known about this.
I don't know that he has.
I can't imagine that he's been working on this exclusively with access to bank records and.
I don't know.
And hasn't been able to like necessarily glean this information yet. I
think that the advantage of Michael Avenatti is the exact opposite of Mueller. That he is so public and he's so anti-Trump, clearly going after Trump, that when somebody gets something and they have the choice of like giving it to Mueller or giving it to him, that they're much more likely to give it to him.
Right.
Because they're like, I want to hurt Trump too. This is the guy who wants to hurt Trump. And then this, like the very quiet guy who's just doing his job, like, well, he'll get the documents eventually, but I'm going to give it to the guy who's going to make it a public embarrassment.
Right. Let me ask you a legal question.
Okay.
Under what pretense could you imagine that Avenatti got this information legally?
Any pretense.
I mean, like, it
so long as he did not order someone to do something illegal, and that person or that person did not announce that they got this illegally, then it's fine for him to have.
I mean, like, if I hacked into Michael Cohen's bank records and found this out and put it in the middle of a folder and just slid it underneath Avenatti's door.
Yep.
He's not in any kind of legal trouble for that.
Nope.
Even if it was found that I had done this maliciously and illegally.
Now, if he hides it, if he doesn't allow Mueller to get it, and it comes to find out that the documents were ill-gotten, he must turn them over immediately. So, like, in that example, if you were the one, and then you find out that... and
I'm not saying it was me. I'm just throwing out an example.
Let's just say separately, he knows who gave them to him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anonymous. And that person then is now a person of interest in Mueller's investigation. His very next move better be calling Mueller, saying, I saw that you are questioning this person. This is who I got the documents from. I'm going to turn these over to you because now I see that they may have been...
But, I mean, talking about them up until the point where he turns them over is no problem.
Because as far as he knows, they are... There are ways that he could legally have obtained them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That somebody who had access, who maybe broke a fiduciary duty, but didn't break the law in getting them. Like, you have a duty to your clients to keep things private. And as an attorney, if I release private information, I could be disbarred.
Yeah.
But it's not illegal for me to do that.
Right.
And in fact, sometimes attorneys walk this line where they think the public interest is served by me releasing it, and I'm just going to hope that when the disbarment hearing comes...
They factor that in.
They just say, you know what? All right, you did break the rules. We're going to suspend you for 6 months rather than disbarment because the public interest was served by what you said, by what you released. There was a lawyer who, the week after his client died, basically called up a bunch of prosecutors and were like, yeah, my guy's the one who was the actual murderer in your case. You have somebody sitting on death row who is not guilty of this. Yeah. And technically, at death, the attorney-client privilege doesn't end. And they brought him up for disbarment. And he ended up getting like
slap on the wrist.
4 years worth of suspensions for like 3 months for this case, 3 months for this case, 3 months for this case. Yeah. Because the public interest was served by not executing people who were not guilty.
Right. But he had a right to zealously defend his client.
Right. And he did so up until it didn't impact him. He just broke the attorney-client privilege after death, which you're not supposed to do.
Right.
But again, the public interest was better served by him doing that. So instead of disbarment, we give you a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
And I think that Avenatti might be walking that fine line too, where he's like, it is, I mean, we were watching the circus beforehand.
Yeah.
He basically said, the people need to know this. And if you're not going to report it, I'm going to report it.
Yeah.
So I'll put it out there, and then if it turns out that it's ill-gotten or it turns out someone broke the law, I'm just going to hope that the fact that it was released and that something good came out of it, then he's following his own conscience. So
right. Yeah. Anywho, that's basically
yeah.
that.
You forgot about the whole money laundering part of it as well.
What part of the money laundering?
Cohen was laundering money.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Oh, yeah. So the one organization is the one that got donations from.
Oh yeah.
But he was and paid off Stormy Daniels. But he was also then moving that money into other organizations. Some of those were paying him directly.
Yeah.
So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call money laundering, because it's where you take money from an ill-gotten source that,
hide it through something else,
right,
and then end up with it in the end.
This one organization got a consulting fee from AT&T. They did not hire Michael Cohen to be a consultant. They hired this agency to be a consultant. That agency then has a contract with another company that doesn't
Michael
actually
Cohen
exist.
LLC.
Yes. And Michael Cohen LLC then makes a payment on its regular term of business to Michael Cohen, we've now not very well, but in a way laundered money.
Yeah.
In a way that
in a dumb criminal kind of way, laundered money.
Yes, but the main theme of this entire thing has been
because usually when you want to launder money, you want to do it like cash.
Yes,
is the best. If you have a cash business, you can launder money very easily. If you own a dry cleaner or a car wash or something like that, it's very easy to launder money.
Watch season 3 of Breaking Bad. Everything that they talk about buying is ways that you can launder money really well.
Yeah.
Because, who knows? Maybe we did cleaning for 100 suits today, or maybe we did cleaning for 1,000 suits today.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Right.
They had the car wash, though, right? Yeah, they bought the car wash when we first worked.
Right.
Oh, do you remember the bed of money? Oh,
yeah.
She just has so much money, you don't know what to do with it.
I still like the end, too, where Bill Burr and the other guy are like lying
on it. Oh, man. Oh.
It's like 4 feet tall of money.
Anyway, yeah, so he also...
Anyway, win a cup or kill a already t-shirt.
Yes. By the way, can I just say...
On an unrelated topic.
I want to make a related comment to that.
Yeah.
Which is... I posted an image. I think. Did you share it with me? I found it
the
online.
stack of scripts.
The stack of scripts.
I sent that to you.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. So, of course, I made an image of the stack of scripts, and I, tongue in cheek, posted it on Instagram and said, I better pack my bags and move back to the East Coast to find another dream. I got easily 50 messages from people who were like, "Oh, you're coming back to Maryland? Oh, it's okay. Oh, whatever. Listen, folks, if each one of you did something to support me once a month, instead of just waiting for me to give up and welcome me back to Maryland, that wouldn't even be a discussion. If you bought a copy of a book one time, especially the last one, because the last one, all the money comes to me. I don't have a publisher. If you go on Patreon and donate $1 a month to get access to all kinds of new stuff, any of that stuff. If you buy a t-shirt from the website.
Or even things that don't cost money, like subscribe to the podcast and just download it and don't listen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even listen.
That helps.
Yes. Just do something.
I mean, obviously, we'd prefer you listen, but I'm saying, if for whatever reason you know that we were going to talk about these topics and you don't feel like listening to this episode, I totally get that. That happens with a lot of podcasts I like. If I really like them, I download it and then just delete it immediately.
And I know people who do that, in fact, with our podcast. They're like, sometimes you guys, I see you talking about like a topic that we're going to talk about in just a second.
Yeah.
And they're like, I know Rob and I differ on this. I don't really want to not like him about this. So I just download it and I delete it. And that's fine. I'm fine with that because you don't want to ruin the relationship. But the amount of messages I got from people who were like, oh, it's okay. Like, fucking do something then. Stop being a bitch about it. Like, fucking help me with something. Help me. What is that from?
Well, are you thinking about Jerry Maguire with help me help you?
Kevin Hart. When you're like looking at him like, help me. Yo, you remember that girl with the big booty? What? We had a code. You made a code. What are you talking about? Anyway, sorry.
Yes,
Kevin Hart bit. So let's talk about something a little more serious. Let's transition to seriousness by talking about how North Korea, at the urging of the president, maybe, or for whatever reason they decided to, they released 3 hostages.
I think this was presented to them as a potential goodwill gesture of their upcoming meeting in Singapore.
Right.
And Kim Jong-un, like he has in prior instances like this, has usually been accepting to goodwill gestures close to something where he's going to just be Kim Jong-un and not listen to anything you say.
Right. Yeah.
Or agree to a treaty and then not follow any of its rules.
Yes, he does tend to do that.
Or continue murdering his people and not be brought in for war crimes. Like any of these things.
To be fair, we haven't prosecuted an American president who's done the same thing.
Listen, I'm not saying...
It's good for the goose. The hilariousness to me about this story is that every news place was reporting it as North Korean hostages released. When the North Koreans say, you broke the law, we tried you, we convicted you, and we sent you to a work camp. But right now, there are more than 400 people in custody. Oh, no, I guess it's down lower now. It's like 170 people who are in custody at Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
Are they hostages? Are they
Well, they haven't been
American
tried.
Oh, yeah, they didn't even get a trial.
Yeah.
So what are they?
Well, I mean, the U.S. is going to make the legal argument that they're prisoners of war,
Right.
in a sense.
Wait, what were the 3 guys?
There's other ones. I mean, like, there's people sitting in black sites right now who
that's
aren't
true.
prisoners of war.
Yeah.
They're way more like hostages than anything else. They haven't been afforded the trial. They haven't been afforded the ability for legal counsel. They haven't been afforded the ability to contact anybody. You just disappear one day, and then all of a sudden you're in the black site for the rest of your life.
Well, and forget about black sites, because did you see the thing about ICE from ICE? That there had been 1,700 people who were kept for more than 6 to 9 months in their custody. 16 people had been kept 6 to 9 years in ICE custody. Like, but again, the North Koreans,
Right.
hostages.
I also
This
like
is
how
not.
I also like how Trump said that they were all captured under Obama when literally only one of them was.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
we're
making it
gonna
up.
look it up. We're at the point where we don't take your word for it anymore. If I'm the guy who's always lying to you,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, yo, slept with fucking Kate Upton last night. It's just like, I don't know about this.
I follow Kate Upton on Instagram. Let's see where she is.
She was in Detroit last night, all night at the Tiger game with her
Yeah.
husband, Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
Something doesn't quite add up here. No, you got to believe me. It was Kate Upton. It was just like, sure,
Okay.
whatever you
Sure,
say.
man. Sure. Yeah.
I won't independently confirm this story.
But yeah,
I'll just take your word for it.
the good news is 3 Americans are out. They're coming home. The bad news is still 100 people or more in Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
Still, who knows how many in black sites. Still thousands in ICE custody. So the answer here is that Kim Jong-un is perhaps more diplomatic than the American president in releasing hostages.
I don't know. There have been releases on goodwill before from
Oh, yeah.
Guantanamo, so I assume you can make a similar argument for.
On goodwill?
Well,
After a trial where they were found
no.
not guilty?
I'm saying,
Or when charges were
or
dropped?
they've been released after when it becomes convenient for them to be released for the United States interest, but not after
Sure.
due process.
Oh, no. Oh, you mean when we traded them?
Yeah.
When we traded.
I mean,
some
to be
people were
fair, though,
holding for
the
hostages.
due process in the Korean system, I mean, like, not saying that it's any fairer or less fair, but I'm saying the due process is basically, oh, you, the guilty one, get in jail. Like,
Wow. It's almost like you're black in the United States. Weird how that works.
Yeah.
Black or poor in the
Yeah.
United States. Yeah, no, it's just every example that I've heard about how, like, well, you don't understand because in North Korea.
Unless it's Baltimore City, where the conviction rate is about 60% from Marilyn Mosby. I don't even get how she fucking has people calling people saying
Here's the thing.
she has a 98% conviction rate. Like, I'm not going to be able to find this information out.
Again, you lie enough. We start checking the numbers. All right. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
But no, it's.
I would, if I got that call where it's just like, can we count on you for Marilyn Mosby's support? She's convicted 98% of the people. Bro, be like, funny. What's the real number? What's the real number you got there?
I'll consider it, but let's just be honest with each other.
Number one, first of all, I'm not counting pleas because pleas are usually I'm willing to take the guilty and I'll take a lesser crime to get the guilty.
Yeah.
And you've already been sitting in jail for 8 months anyway, so
Right.
you can walk away right now and just plead guilty to this minor offense as opposed to going to trial for the felony, which will include another 5 months of sitting in jail because you can't afford bail.
Right.
But
Because cash bail sucks.
yeah. But, I would probably audibly laugh at them if they called and told me that.
By the way, let's end the cash bail system. Can we do that? Can we not have people sitting in jail because they're too poor to pay bail?
I feel like there's better systems, but
Yeah, there's absolutely better systems. Like, hey, give me a GPS monitoring bracelet.
yeah, I'm fine with that. That costs money though.
You know how much it costs to incarcerate somebody?
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like the argument that you would be making eventually to a taxpayer is not about like the cost of the GPS tracking bracelet as opposed to the cost of housing somebody in prison. They're not going to hear that part. They're going to hear criminal out on the street, didn't have to pay anything in bail. Only thing keeping them from murdering your children is this GPS bracelet. When are they going to find out where they are after the murder has occurred? Blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying it's right.
No, I'm just saying
it's wrong. I'm just saying.
All right, Willie Horton.
I'm just saying that's
another deep pull that nobody's going to understand.
That's part of the problem with the system is that we have to be able to sway people whose arguments are so stupid that they shouldn't be made as arguments. This is all I'm saying. Much like
not every argument.
all the transgender people who are going to come in and rape your children in the wrong bathroom. Like,
by the way, the only ones you got to worry about in the bathroom, apparently, Republican senators who
knew?
who are going into the bathroom with your children. So let's get to the main event.
Oh, and look at that. We're out of time.
Oh,
Corey.
I control the video today. Well, never day. So something.
I control the audio.
Something. Oh, you're right. I'll unplug this. I'll go all retro with the mic.
You'll just stand outside with the phone going like, they're lying to you.
So, today. Well, was it 2 weeks ago? Last week was...
No.
It was last week.
It was this weekend and then today.
No, but when did I go on my rant? Was that last week?
Oh, no. 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I closed out the podcast. If you haven't
By the
seen
way,
it,
if
check it out.
you don't give a shit about the Middle East, I'd stop listening right now.
Why did you do that? Why would you do that?
I'm saying some people.
I want them to listen.
Okay.
Yeah, whether or not they care, they should care.
Then
and they
please
should listen to
listen.
this. Yes,
This is important.
all of you should listen to this. But nonetheless, 2 weeks ago, I ended the podcast with a bit of a rant where I said what was happening in that case was unjust. There was 40 people who were killed and 900 were wounded. And it was a dark day, and it could not have gotten any worse, except today it got worse. And of course, I'm talking about the fact that, based in part of something we can get into, but nonetheless, a bunch of people from the Palestinian territories, from Palestine, rushed basically as in part of protest to get into the Israeli territory, and they shot and killed 52 of them and injured over 1,000. I think they're saying now upwards of 2,000 people were injured, with 50 dead. And the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, basically took the tack that we are going to just use live ammunition. We're going to use drones to drop white phosphorus and tear gas and any kind of chemicals on the crowd. Mm. And we're going to kill people because we don't care. We're going to shoot to kill.
Was there white phosphorus that was dropped?
That's the allegation that's being made right now. Is that there's some drones?
But we don't have a clear up and down on that.
Well, no, because after everyone cleared the area, they basically created a DMZ where they couldn't get back in to check the canisters, because if you went back in to check the canisters, they shot you. So there's not a lot of confirmation.
Okay,
but there was.
I'm just saying, for people who don't know,
yes,
tear gas is legal.
No, it's not. It's banned by the Geneva Convention.
Is it?
Yes.
How can tear gas be used?
Because it falls under a chemical as a chemical weapon.
Okay, well, white phosphorus is definitely illegal.
Yes,
that's a very serious claim that I had not heard until
unless white phosphorus is no more dangerous than tear gas, so long as it's not ignited. The problem is when you drop white phosphorus and you drop a firebomb after it, it explodes everything. White phosphorus really just will irritate the skin and make you move.
All I'm saying is that basically all the things that people were getting upset with the children of Aleppo was basically happening in the Gaza Strip.
Yes.
Over the past 2 weeks here.
And why is it? Well, it's clearly something must have happened between Israel and Palestine for all of this to get riled up. It was clearly an interstate conflict between those two nations.
No, not so much. I mean,
listen, what was the reason? Why is this happening now?
There's a lot of things.
Why is this happening now? Chuck Schumer, don't dance around it. Why is this happening now?
The movement of the embassy?
Absolutely. The United States decided to move its embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which acknowledges for the first time since 1948, acknowledges in physical form since 1948, that Jerusalem is the united capital of Israel, that there is no East and West Jerusalem, that Jerusalem is one city, and that it is the capital of Israel, which is not the case. Jerusalem is an international city. Tel Aviv is the capital of Israel. Unless you're a fascist Israeli, then sure, it's the capital of Israel. Mm. But nonetheless, so U.S. announced that it was going to be moving the capital, or it was moving the embassy from the capital of Tel Aviv to the city of Jerusalem, which is weird, again, given that it's not the capital. And that set off the Intifada 4, I guess we're on now, or Intifada 5, depending on whether this is part of the Intifada from 2014, where thousands were killed. If not, then this is the Intifada 5, when our death count is just over 150 now. Nonetheless, we moved our embassy. There were protests. People with rocks and with no weapons at all were shot by IDF snipers. They had chemicals dropped on them to try and disperse them, generally just treated like animals. And I will renew my call that you should boycott anything that has to do with Israel. Zionism is a plague, and it should be eliminated the same as all fascist forms of thought should be eliminated. Just go back to any of the conversations we had basically in the past year about punching fascists and how the only way to deal with a fascist is to kill him. Just apply that to fascism as a whole, whether you're talking about Nazism, whether you're talking about the right-wing American movements, the MAGA movement, or whether Zionism. They're all of the same ilk. This right-wing nonsense needs to be stopped. So,
Okay. I have one question.
Sure.
By the way, if people are noticing that I'm silent for most of this, it's because I don't feel like I know enough to really talk glowingly about this. So I'm going to ask just random questions.
I'm going to ask one question first.
Okay.
Did you or did you not say that despite never having seen a Star Wars movie, you could have a more intelligent conversation about Star Wars than you could about Israel and Palestine?
I imagine I could have a longer conversation about Star Wars than I could Israel.
This is me casting the side eye. All right, ask your question.
So given the current state between Israel and Palestine,
Yes.
what would you recommend then as a solution to?
The solution is and has been since the early 2000s a two-state solution, similar to the one that was offered by I think the Prince of Jordan. I think he's still the Prince of Jordan, because King of Jordan didn't die, did he? No, he did. He's now the King of Jordan.
Yeah.
The old prince died, or the old king died. Now we have the new king of Jordan.
Yes.
Pretty sure.
I believe that's right.
So he was prince at the time. Now he is the king of Jordan, who offered to help facilitate a two-state solution. That is the answer. One, stop building settlements. Israelis need to stop building settlements in the West Bank, especially, but also in Gaza. They need to demilitarize the border crossings between Gaza and the West Bank and the Israeli territories. We, as an international community, need to step up and defend the Palestinian people. We need to, if necessary, give them weapons so that they can fight back against the IDF, or we need to demilitarize the IDF by any means necessary. If that means Hellfire missiles in tanks, if that means disarming airplanes in hangars or on runways, taking out helicopters, using drones, whatever it is, we need to demilitarize the IDF or militarize the Palestinian Authority so that they can at least fight each other on equal means. Step in, create a two-state solution where Gaza and the West Bank are joined by a highway so that people can pass freely between the two of them, and enable the Palestinians to have some sort of self-determination. Because right now they're second-class citizens. The apartheid in Israel is no different than the apartheid that existed in South Africa, no different than the apartheid that existed then and still exists in America. These are all cut from the same cloth, and it all comes from the same fascist belief system that one group is better just because they exist than another. That's the solution. Two-state.
Okay.
Just that easy.
Did it change for you at some point?
What?
Like I mean, were you ever at any point in support of Israel or its cause?
I mean, I grew up a Protestant Christian, so to me, Israel was the Holy Land. So they went through a Holocaust. They were given a home. They took a homeland. So they fight off the Mongol invaders, so to speak. the Ottoman invaders for their entire life. They should be praised. And something you said earlier, which is absolutely true, that when I was growing up, I had heard about this ongoing war that was happening between the Palestinians and the Israelis, and that they were really just about self-determination. What you find out when you're an adult is that today and then in 1992 and before that in 1981 and before that for the most part in 1970, unless another country was involved in the 6-Day War or any of the other wars that have happened between Israel and its neighbors, when it's just the Palestinians, they have rocks. Sometimes they have bombs, but not very often. Sometimes they have rockets, but not very often. More often than not, it's citizens with rocks against IDF troops with AR-15s and tanks and helicopters. So, it's one of those things that over the past 10 years of my life, as my belief system has shifted far to the left, I've embraced the fact that everything that I knew before was a lie. And what has happened now is what has always been happening. There have always been prison camps in Israel for political dissidents from Palestine. These prison camps are where they stick undesirable Palestinians. They keep them there so that their ideas can't spread. They feed them as little as possible to keep them alive. They don't care if disease kills them. They don't care if they try to escape and they're murdered by IDF troops. They are concentration camps. The same reason that we supported an Israeli state in 1948, because things were done to them, they are now doing to someone else. They learned the lesson of history the best way they could.
Right.
Here's what happened to us. We will never let that happen to us again by doing that to someone else. And that's where it is now.
All right. Well, if you have any comments for Rob, there's one good place where you can find them.
Where's that?
OTheAnthem.com. Corey at OTheAnthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. And you can find more of me at CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, at LegendsCB5 on Twitter and Instagram, and my Facebook page at Corey Baker Film. I haven't been able to do a new movie review. I've been dying to go see the new Avengers.
I know. God, I can't believe we still haven't seen it yet.
We didn't get to see it when it first came out, which would have been our best chance because no showings.
Yeah.
Or no open seats at showings, I guess I should say.
Right. But way more showings. Just there were no open seats.
And now that I'm super busy, I don't know when I'm exactly going to see it. I was going to see it by myself the other day, but then got talked out of that. So I don't know. We'll see it soon. And
I love that you got talked out of it, and now
I'm sure there will be a movie review coming as soon as I have the chance to go see a movie again.
You got talked out of it, and now the person who talked you out of it is talking about going without you. By the way, because you're so busy. I mean, we should go see it this week. I mean, yeah, he can't come, but he can go see it anytime.
She sees it without me, so help me. By the way, Zach's got Movie Pass now.
Does he?
Yeah, he texted me about it.
Hey, check out my video for Movie Pass. And, of course, you can find more from me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks. It says that right there. At Robert N. Cheek. You can also check out robertncheek.com where you can find links to my political blog, the news website, and the books which are available on Amazon.
Buy Rob's books.
Thank you, sir. Of course, if you want even more from me, you can sign up to be a supporter on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Robert N. Cheek. Patreon.com/Robert N. Cheek. You can get behind the scenes videos. You can get scripts that won't be seen by anybody but you and every producer who throws them into a huge pile and we never see them again. But there's a lot of stuff to enjoy there. Short stories, poems, a whole bunch of stuff. Check it all out there. And you can get access to that for as little as $1 a month. So instead of giving me shit and telling me to give up on what I wanted to do when I came here and come home, maybe support somebody. Anyway.
All right. Well, I think we don't get here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
No, let's just end this podcast peacefully before Rob says anything controversial.
I got nothing to say. I've said it all. I mean, listen, if you really want to talk about Israel and Palestine,